How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video. I'm your host, Razgableave, and today, guys, we're going to be talking about the 25th anniversary of Persona. So it's technically not until September as to when the actual 25th anniversary starts, but you could still say that 2021 is going to be the anniversary year of Persona, which means we're going to probably be seeing a lot of different stuff coming from the company itself. Not only is it the 25th anniversary and it's been hyped up like crazy, but over there at ATLUS and the Persona team have hyped the fact that they're working on multiple projects for the year of 2021 this year. So we're going to be seeing some different projects, and based off of the success of what we have seen from last year from different ports, Persona 4 Golden going on Steam, to now we're having Strikers on Steam, we're going to be seeing a lot of different stuff happening here with ports, brand new games, and possible spin-offs. So let's just sort of go over what we might potentially end up seeing. So I think the best way to actually start this is by going over what we probably won't see. We're more than likely not seeing anything for Persona 6. That game's still a far away thing down the pipeline. They're still trying to figure out how to even make SMT 5. It is different teams, but they're working on different multiple projects, and there is not going to be an arena fighting game, just seeing as how Arc System is already working on so many different fighter type stuff, literally fighters, if you want to actually say that. They're working on so many different things. The chance of them doing something like that this year is probably not likely, but there is a chance that potentially down the line that will be something. So what is sort of left for this year? And the one thing that I think about the most is ports. Because of how well Persona 4 Golden did on Steam, it has brought to the attention to people over at ATLUS and the Persona team for whenever they made Strikers that they knew that they wanted to actually have that release on Steam because of the success it had in the West. Persona 4 Golden was the prime example of why it would work so well, and then now the fact that they're bringing newly released games like Strikers, I guess you can't say newly released because it's already been out in Japan, but newly localized games are being brought to Steam, and it's going to be on Steam also for there in Japan as well. It kind of goes to show that the success of Steam is something real and that porting games can actually be done. So Toei Tecom is actually the ones actually doing the port, so it's not a third-party thing, which is actually nice to see. They're no longer doing third-party stuff for the Steam ports, at least when it comes to Strikers anyway. Hopefully that's something we continue to see down the pipeline. But the success of Persona 4 Golden on Steam might bring us new things like the Persona 3 port that we all have been asking, we've all been wishing for, which I think is probably one of the most prime examples of something that we might end up seeing this year because of that 25th anniversary. But if it's more the anniversary of the first Persona game, why not see something like that instead? I think something that would be really cool and really interesting that they could do is potentially do a Persona 1 and 2 type of bundle, where they have, technically it's 3 games there, Persona 1, then you have the 2 Persona games, bundle those together in a remaster for the first 3, then you have Persona 3, 4, and 5, you can remaster and put that into a bundle as well. So you have 2, you have like the old games and the new Persona trilogy, which I know people are talking about. Technically it was made by different people. The first Persona games was kind of hard for them to touch on stuff like that because it's technically not something they worked on. I know, but I'm just sort of speaking out loud here. It's something I would like to see in the future. That'd be really cool to see as well. And another thing, why have we not gotten the dancing games on PC? I think that'd be something they could actually do very easily. Seeing as how it's just pressing buttons, why not have those be buttons that you actually press on a keyboard? It would have to work a little bit differently considering how you can't flick the analog like the Persona games have. Typically when you see the blue ring go all the way out to the screen, you're supposed to flick your analog or something like that, but I could easily see somebody connecting a controller to this and doing that way. Just like Persona 4 Golden, it won, I think, the Golden Award for having a controller plugged in during Steam while playing the game. I could easily see people plugging in their PS4 controller, their Switch Pro controller, something like that, and playing that game still just like that. It could still happen. You could also, I guess, theoretically use the mouse to do the actual, like, rings that you capture on the dancing games. I think it could be something that we could see done that way, or maybe spacebar is for the rings. It really doesn't have to be a flick of the analog or anything like that in general, and because it is like button presses, it's similar to like Guitar Hero in a way. It's one of the type of rhythm games. I could see it very easily being ported over to Steam. Honestly, I would really love to see a lot of the dancing games over at Steam. I've seen some people in my comment section and a lot of my live streams talk about how they would love to have some of the rhythm games on Steam as well, and how those ported would actually be so cool and so fun to see. We also could see those being ported to other things as well, but I think Steam is going to be their most prime thing that they are going to be pushing for in terms of ports. But that's not all. We also have consoles as well. So what are the odds of something like a Persona 4 Golden, sort of jump over to console, modern day consoles? Easily, I think the power of the Switch is able to capture something like Persona 4 Golden. It should be strong enough to do so. It's already on, handhelds, it's already on PS Vita. The Switch has the exact same compatibility. It has the exact same strength. Even if you have it on handheld mode, it should be able to support it. Technically, it should be able to support anything below Persona 5. Persona 5 Royal might be a little bit more, but I still don't think it'll be that much, considering how regular Persona 5 was made on PS3, and technically it's more of a just kind of slightly updated version on the PS4. We could still have a more dumbed down, like, PS3 version of Persona 5 on the Switch. So I know everybody and their freaking mother wants Persona 5 on Switch, but if there's a year to do it, this is the year for it to happen. It is the 25th anniversary after all, and they're celebrating Persona. Why wouldn't they push their biggest games to more consoles? Just like that, we might also potentially see something like this on Steam. However, I'm scared of it being a third party that does this type of thing. If the third parties get a hold of it, it's not always going to be the best. It's a lot better if it's actually done in-house by some teams at ATLUS, or one of the teams at ATLUS actually doing it. It feels a lot better and it feels nicer whenever they actually port this stuff. We're going to be seeing that soon whenever Strikers comes out here in February. When we see that on Steam, we'll be able to look at it and actually see and feel how that looks, and potentially be able to actually run the game in higher settings than any console could. We technically could be able to run this thing at 4K, like 120 frames, if it actually supports it. I'm not 100% sure if it does support that on Steam, but I really don't see why they couldn't. At least when it comes to the frame rate, I don't see why they couldn't up the frame rate for the game. Even, I understand 4K is harder to render, maybe they didn't render stuff in 4K, but the frame rate should be higher on Steam, so hopefully we end up seeing that if they bring more things and port more things over, because I know Persona 4 Golden technically does run better. It runs at a higher refresh rate. If we see more stuff come to Steam, we might be able to see something like Persona 5 Royal on Steam. It'll be technically the best ran version, best looking version of Persona 5 or Persona 5 Royal that actually comes over to Steam. Jumping over to Switch, I actually don't want that as much because I know it's going to technically run worse because of that. The limitations of it, of the console. Even if you have it docked, it's still technically going to be a little bit worse than it would be on like PS4, especially if it would be on the PC. But that's mostly what we have here in terms of ports. We have more potential to see something like Persona 3 or 4 be brought around to other consoles, or Persona 3 brought to Steam, or Persona 3 really just brought to anything, actually. Right? We see more of a chance of that happening because it's something that they've been working on. The earlier Persona games really isn't something the Persona team themselves sort of created. The Persona team was made later on during the original trilogy, not the original trilogy, but like the new trilogy of Persona games, so the odds of them touching that stuff is a little bit less likely. But however, I still would love to see that. I would still love to see those older Persona games. But like I said, we have more of a successful chance of seeing something like P3 brought to Steam or Persona 5 be brought around more than anything. But that's not all. We have a potential to see new things, something other than ports. We might have more spin-off titles down the pipeline. Strikers being something that sort of went out of the typical mold. It's not a rhythm game, it's not a fighter game, it's kind of something like a fighter game, open world sort of situation, which I really like to see. I would love for an arena fighting game, but however, I don't think that's going to be something we're going to be seeing this year, guys. Unfortunately, I don't think that's something we're going to be seeing this year. So many other creators have talked about this. I thought about doing a video on this as well, but it seems like this has been kicked into the dirt, said 1,000 times. I'm just not going to be redundant about it, and I think we all could sort of see that, and if you've seen some other people's videos, you'll know that as well. But we have the potential to see something like some spin-offs. Now, the mobile games, they don't count it. I know Persona 5 is being milked to death, but I still think there's something more for the series here. When you think about Persona 4 Golden, we have, a rhythm game, we have fighting games, we have technically multiple, fighting games for the series, and I don't think Persona 5 has got nearly as many streamlined games. We have the dancing game, but it's not done like the Persona 4 Golden one was. It's sort of rushed. There's not as much story there as you see in the Persona 4 Golden game. There's no fighting game Persona 5, but Persona 4 does. So if you want to compare it, apples to oranges, I guess, in some sort of way, it looks like Persona 4 Golden had more stuff to it, more concrete stuff going along with it. However, Persona 5 hasn't quite gotten that. If I was a betting man, I bet that we are going to receive at least one more hard, solid game that continues the story even more than Strikers does. That is what I would like to see, and it's more than likely going to be another spin-off game. What kind of genre it could be, who knows? The rhythm game thing is done. The sort of a more open world hack and slash thing is done. So who really knows? We don't have much left to really go here. I personally would like to see something completely left field, not like an FPS or something like that, but I would like to see something more different compared, like something more like Strikers, where it's an open world sort of setting, maybe more like a Zelda type of game where you're actually going through different generated levels and walking around at different places. I think that would actually be really cool. Maybe even something similar more towards, and I don't want to say Breath of the Wild because I know Genshin Impact is similar to that, but I think exploring a lot of the Persona 5 worlds like that would be actually really, really cool. Something more like that. I know Strikers is similar to that, but more of a Breath of the Wild type of feel to it. I know it's a little bit different, a little bit strange, but I think that the Persona series could really pull that off if they really tried hard enough and really dug down deep to get some inspiration from other games like Breath of the Wild and some of these other big open world games. I think open world games are extraordinary, and especially games that look so good like Persona and have such good music. You don't feel like you're falling out of the world that much. Your immersion is still there, and it still feels nice, it still feels fresh, it still feels fun to play, even after hours of gameplay. That's why these games are so addictive, and that's why we love them so much. But I think that's going to sort of wrap things up, guys. We're more than likely going to see a lot of ports. We're going to hear a lot of news going on. Strikers is down the corner. It's just a month away pretty much, guys. We have more things, possible spin-offs down the line. Let me know, what exactly would you like to see? Any kind of spin-off games slash genres that you would like to see mixed in with Persona? What older Persona games would you like to see ported? I know for sure, for me personally, I would love to see a Persona 3 port onto Steam, or bringing everything over to Switch as well would be really cool. Maybe getting Persona 4 Golden on the PS5, PS4, stuff like that. And that's one more thing I wanted to mention. We might end up seeing a Persona 5 Royal Ultimate Edition with all of its DLC and everything on the PS5 release. That's one more thing I forgot to say, and they might end up upscaling the game and allowing it to run at a higher refresh rate and potential 4K capabilities. It'd be upscaling since the game has actually rendered in 4K, but we might end up seeing something like that in the future, potentially this year, because of the next-gen consoles. I don't think they've really done something like that in the past, but they're changing things up. Heck, we got Persona 4 Golden on Steam, and they're bringing a bunch of stuff to Steam as well here in the future. So I think that's going to wrap up this video, guys. 2021 is going to be a good year for Persona fans, and heck, even Shin Megami Tensei fans, man. If you like ATLUS, this is going to be a good year for you, man. I'll be sure to keep you all updated, so like, comment, subscribe for more content. Click that bell anytime you want to be notified of a new video. I'll be sure to keep you all up to date. As always, thank you so much for watching.